Thanks for staying with us. This Sunday, November 19th, is International Men's Day. And we would like to focus on the plight of men, especially those living in Nigeria. According to the Nigerian career coach, Olabode Ifeanyi, he said it's unfair how Nigerians treat effeminate men who especially do not have money. What are your thoughts on this? There's so many angles to discuss. We're going to amplify and broaden this conversation. But we'd like to join the conversation. Call us on 081 076 41679, 0902 4163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. We're celebrating World Men's Day on Sunday, November 19th. And we're going to use the opportunity to discuss various things. Number one, what do men want? Number two, what kind of pressure does society put on men? Men who are feminist, as Mr. Ifeanyi has said, why do we somewhat discriminate them? I think Mikel Obi recently also talking about the kind of pressure that he undergoes because he's wealthy and successful. So as a man, when you have money, the whole family expects you to raise your siblings, to take care. You know, there's a responsibility that's thrown on you, either you like it or not. So these are a lot of things men go through, and it's a conversation that we need to have. And please join us. I would like to hear from our viewers. But let's start with the ladies. Toko, you want to jump in?
Yeah, there's a song by this Nigerian artist that lives in Canada. His name is Dax. And he has a song, To Be a Man, and he brought it back, posted it like 2 days ago. I sent it to my husband, I sent it to a few of my friends that listen to the words, because I know that I have a responsibility to raise 3 men, currently boys to be men. And we don't talk enough about the emotional stress men go through. We don't prepare them to deal with this. And one of the things he said in the song is, he said, as a man, you've got to pave your way. Your only function is to work and slave. There is no respect for you if you don't get paid. You are disregarded as a human and you can't complain. If you ever make it up and actually reach the place and find a woman that loves you and give her your last name, you feel that things are provided. You have to provide all the things so that she stays. And that is the reality of many men. You're defined by your ability to pay the bills. You are defined by your ability to be responsible. You are defined by your ability to be strong. You are defined by your ability not to break down. You are defined by your ability to sustain to keep your woman. How can your woman live if she lives? You are getting beaten by the woman, you cannot complain. You know, like, life happens. The burden is huge, and I think that we need to create safe space for men to express their emotions. And for the ones that are adults right now, they don't even have the structure to do so. So we need to solicit and encourage it, and then we're raising our children to be able to express themselves so that at least as they get older, like Adekule Gold said, there are more grandmas than grandpas.
We'll come to that in a minute. Let me come to you, Mariam. Sometimes you say, is Nigeria unfair to men that don't have money? You know, you think about these things. There's so much pressure. So a man who doesn't have money, who hasn't loan, feels inadequate. He feels that he hasn't achieved anything. Yeah. What are your thoughts on this?
Which is so true. There's no need to beat about the bush. It is true that a man who is financially more, empowered can get away with a lot of things. You know, nearly everything falls at his feet. But no matter how brilliant a man is, if financially he's not there, or he does not meet some of society's standard for wealth, somehow there's some sort of disrespect. He needs to prove himself a bit more than someone who has money. And now, to be honest, the conversations that I hear young girls having, at first I thought it was a Nigerian thing. I was watching this podcast by, girls in the UK. These are black girls, although, and it's still the same conversation. I can't be with a man that doesn't have money. I can't be with a man that is not financially successful. Yeah. And, there are some men who are saying, well, but I'm a good guy, I just haven't gotten the money yet. Or I'm a good guy, but I'm not looking to be the richest person in the world. I just want this and I just want this. Or you hear women say, I was with this man, but when I realized that he was not financially ambitious, So there is pressure. And I do not want to use this opportunity, this particular discussion to make it look like I'm excusing bad behavior. But a lot of it can be said to be the reason why we find a lot of men in all sorts of criminal activities, the Yahoo boys, the kidnappings. I remember, there was a time when, because of a particular culture here in Nigeria, where you're expected to bring like a very large bride price and things like that. We've heard people who have been caught doing armed robbery and all sorts. They'll say it's because they had to put money together for their wedding. So there is, honestly, as an African man, a Nigerian man, there's that pressure for you to be financially stable or financially,
Yeah, let me come to Nima. Your thoughts on this, like how Nigerian men.
Mine is going left, right, and
Yes.
because we seem to have seen why and why not, and too many scatter reasons happening. Yes, Nigerian men are largely burdened, but they're not just burdened by the women's or family demands. They are burdened by men, their mates, who also say, the family demanded a head, and I gave it to them to marry my wife. So you start finding head, Men don't support.
Competition.
Yes, they create that standard of competition that so other men aspire to. And before you know it, it became what society demanded. I know that till tomorrow, my bride price traditionally for my family is 250 naira. Till tomorrow, it has not changed. We're trying to upgrade it. So yes, it's still that amount. We are practically married almost for free. But I know that my grandfather married some of the royals because we were not royals and he had money. So I will use money because it was a standard. And that's how society continues to pressure men by men. Really, not just women. Women will take it as a pride thing. He brought heads to marry me. But what exactly did he prove for her? Because when she gets there, she'll face what women face.
The money doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, it doesn't make any difference, but it's just the ariwo of the wedding. Did you see all the bowls of dry fish, bogan fish, all the things they used to?
Anyway, as I said, so we are focusing on world
No,
Men's
we're focusing
Day.
on men.
Men today.
Well, because I've heard, I
Yes.
don't want the men to just jump and say, you women, you women, you women.
So I have a caller right now, but we're going to unpack this. This is a very, very intense conversation. Let me take this caller. Good morning. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, that's Edward Ezekiel on the line.
Good morning, Edward. You're live. Go ahead.
I'm a first-time caller.
Welcome to the show.
All right, so I appreciate you people. I've been watching you for almost as much as you have been on air.
Wow. Thank you.
I can tell you that I had your pictures once in a while. I go and snap you on TV. So that's much. But now I can contribute about men. Now, I want to say categorically, without fear of only being considered too outspoken, that men are the most marginalized persons on earth, especially in Africa. We are seriously marginalized. And you know what? The worst part of it is that even men help to instill this marginalization more. Because everything, even if you are driving a car, you have an altercation on the road. They say it's a woman. They won't know that that's a driver. And someone that can destroy you if he's not driving well. First thing is a woman. It's a woman. We keep excluding women. Now, there are also even conversations that go to the extent of saying that men are the ones that are victims of rape. Now, there are men that are also victims of rape. Because sometimes their wives will overuse them, or they get overused by older women. So men are actually being marginalized, and men need to wake up and start being real to these issues, and stop being too petty issues on this matter. So that is about that. The other one is the Men's Day. I expect that at least a man should be inside that studio. If I'm not in there, I would have
You're doing a good job.
Thank you, Edward, for joining us anyway.
You
So
have
it's a
joined
women's show, but we're talking about men today. And I think the question I'd like to ask is, what exactly do men want? And I'd like to get our callers I would like to hear from Nigerians. Nigerian men, call us today. 08107641679, 0902416340. Tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read it. Today's show is for you. Yes. What exactly do you want?
What is your ideal?
What's from wife?
Yeah.
Don't lament.
From parents? From siblings?
Yeah.
From your friends, colleagues? What exactly? From society? What would you like? I like what Edward said. men are most marginalized. So we've noted that down. Do you feel marginalized? Okay, what makes you feel marginalized? Because we think we live in a patriarchy. But you're saying you're marginalized. Is it because, oh, a woman is driving a car and because she hits you, the woman, let her go? I need to understand what marginalization is. We'll discuss that. But I'd like to hear, like, men call us today. What exactly do you want?
So I wanted to conclude earlier that maybe we should just redefine this masculinity thing.
Yes.
Because the standard of masculinity
Define it.
is an expectation women have of other men meeting up men like them. If it wasn't a standard one man had set, I don't
Which
think
man said, is it God?
No,
Adam.
the one that
Oh,
has
Adam.
plenty money.
Who? Abraham.
Because the
See,
one that gets
the whole thing is,
respected.
around materialism.
Yes.
The whole idea of it. You have more money, you can do. If you do bad, you have money to buy out. So the Yahoo boys, what are they looking for?
That respect.
Who started the standards? How did we get here? And why is it about money and materialism? Maybe we should redefine this masculinity thing and remove the materialism, and then we have a clearer picture.
Wait, hold on. Kenneth has been calling. Good morning, Kenneth. You're live. Kenneth, Go ahead.
Ladies in the house.
Yes.
I just want to, this is my first time of course the program.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I always watch you guys from the UK anyway. So I'm around in Nigeria this couple of weeks. So let me contribute quickly to what the subject matter is all about, which is International Men's Day. To be fair, if you look at it, Nigeria as a country has misdefined the role of men in our society.
The role of men.
And if you look at the biblical view, man, God created man, and a woman is in a man. And if you look at it, if you don't treat the man well, if you don't bring up the man child properly and provide the necessary help or support for that boy or a baby boy, who later turns to a young man, and from the young man to an adult.
Mr. Kenneth, I'd like you to answer the question I raised earlier. What exactly does a man want?
A man wants, it depends on from a childhood to adulthood. A man who is responsible, who is educated, his needs is different from a man who is not educated. But in general, in Nigerian spectrum, you look at it, every man wants money. Every man wants home. Every man wants a family. Every man wants to have that what we call economical ego. And in a society, in a policy.
Okay, thank you very much, Kenneth.
You know what I would like to ask, maybe for the man that will call next, will be, what would you say would be the ideal situation for you in a relationship with a woman? Would you like a woman who can afford things for herself and provide for you? That 50-50 conversation that seems to be the main thing right now. Or would you prefer to be the dawn of the house? You take care of all financial needs and she's at home nurturing your kids. Yeah. What's most ideal for a Nigerian man? I would like to know.
So Nima said something, and I feel like it's really important that we don't push it aside. Yes, because in recent time, I have someone that she wants to get married, and her father for over 1 year has been like checking on the husband. What is in your bank account? How much is your salary? Where are you living? All of that, like over a year. He's gotten a better job. He's rented a better house. Still, marriage has not been approved because the man. I want to be sure you can take care. Yes, he's not a big man. I just feel like it would have been a different. It just feels it would be a different scenario if this man that is proposing drove into the house with this very big car, came in and he was dropping bag of rice, dropping drinks. The response would have been different than when the boy took a bike and came there. And when he actually came to ask for the hand in marriage, it wasn't working, but he assured them that he would get a job, and he got a job. He assured them he would get a better job, he got a better job. He got a house, he has gotten a house. But still, he is not big enough to be the husband to your daughter. Well, so when you say men sometimes are putting men under pressure, this is where you...
The father is putting a potential son-in-law under pressure. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we open our phone line. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. So Sunday is International Men's Day, and we're discussing men today. Just men, man. Today we have Ibrahim. Ibrahim is calling from Malaguado. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, good morning.
You're live.
You are asking that what do men want
Yes.
in this house?
In volume.
I think that's a general question. What does the society set for men? Looking from the religious angle, from the Bible, from the Quran, a man is expected to take care of the family financially. So men are not given any other option. The society is not giving men any other option. You just have to provide for your family. Most times, 100%. But women are trying nowadays. If they are working, they support the family. But not, all men.
Ibrahim, I think you didn't get that. You see, I understand what the Bible says. You understand what society says. But we're asking you as Ibrahim, what do you want? Can you hear me?
For me, I would like to, support my family, to support the wife and the children by providing for them, economically and financially.
That's it for
When I responded to you on Twitter, on X, I am woke activist. Says I can't speak for everyone, but I want a reasonable being, common sense being common. I don't want a lot, but understanding, communication. We can balance it when it comes to money and other responsibilities. Islam talks about all of this. The earlier we learn more, the better for our lives to be better and joyful. Thanks to your view, women. I always appreciate you all.
That's interesting, Ima, what you just read, and it's making me think, would men really pursue financial gain as much as they do if they didn't get the pressure of having to provide for the family, provide everything? Like, would a man be more content if he just had a little to go by and he knows that the family is fine? Is this pursuit for success and money really about what the women want or what they think the children want? I would like to hear our men tell us that.
Because it seems like society has put so much pressure on that you have to have this level.
Yes.
But there's something I want, let me pause you for a second, because there's something you said earlier. I'd like us to make that a topic in itself. Should we redefine masculinity? I think we need to discuss that. What is masculinity in 2023? Let's define a man. So while we're waiting for men to call in, as women, what do we define as a man in 2023? Who do we think? So men are watching. Maybe they don't know. What do you, these modern women, what is your own definition of a man in 2023? Mariam, let me start.
Yes.
You put me on the spot.
Yes, Mariam was asking questions.
Okay, so, see, I want a man that is confident. I think that for me, a person that is confident, but also kind. For me, that is important. That ego thing, at first I used to say, I would say, if you had asked me this maybe a couple of years before, I would say put the ego aside. But I've also learned, this is from a man's perspective, that as much as we complain about the ego, it's the ego that is help the man stand in front of a lion to protect you. So I hope, so I want a man that is able to use his ego positively. I want a masculine man has to be a man that, even though he is confident in himself, he also understands that his partner is a team player, is there with him, they are collaborators.
Let me pause you for a second. Because in the first three things, you didn't mention money. Because some men always assume that all women want is money. You've said three things: confidence, kindness, and positively handling your ego. That's what Moran just told you now, because people always assume it's only money. But let me take this call.
Money is not a bad thing.
We'll come to money. So men always think it's number one. But AB is calling from Malimo. So let's take AB. Thanks for calling. You're live.
All right, good morning.
Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Yes, morning.
Going to your question, what do men want? What I want, I would say is basically peace of mind.
Peace of mind.
From being a child, it's been drilled into our genetics as an African. Let me tell you this story. For example, while I was 7, I got my first knock from an older male who says, "Men don't cry, you're a man." So you can imagine while growing up, I lost my mom barely around 10, and my dad didn't shed a tear. But I saw he could explode at the time. His eyes were all as red as coal, but he never shed a tear. At least I didn't see him shed one. Men don't cry. So everything in the society, from when you're born, as a matter of fact, I'm sorry, I'm guilty.
I was talking to my boy this morning, and I said, as a man, you have to be confident, speak up. You know, we indoctrinate a man with what we think or what our tradition thinks a man should be. And while growing up, they have this and they cannot express anything that makes you perceive they are weak. No. For example, a white man wrote once and he said, when a woman is not happy, she either calls her mom, she calls her siblings, she calls her sister, she calls the husband and empties herself. But when the man isn't, who does he call? He sits back, bears the pain himself, and then he moves on. So you see, everything from the onset till now that we speak tells you that a man is a rock-solid entity that should never show weakness or cracks. I felt ill. I was working for a company for 4 years. I never took off. I never took leave. I felt ill once, and my boss, a female, she said, AB, I thought you're Superman, so you break down. After 4 years. So that is it. Everything speaks to this. So for me, I think a man wants peace. When I know that everything is peaceful around me, I'm an Edo person, and we are built with pride. When I got married, I told my wife, you're not going to work until my kids are 10. I will provide. That is what a man is wired to do. So when he's providing all these things and he doesn't have peace, it tends to affect him negatively.
I need you to stay on for a minute.
Yes. What would you describe as peace for you? What would the wife be doing? And then what would you constitute as being lack of peace in your house?
Okay, this is way beyond my house, for example. My house is where I'm king. So to a large extent, you can, if you don't get it, you can behave in such a way that you get it elsewhere. But what I'm talking about is a holistic thing. Peace from the economy, peace from the entire system. For example, I'm going out and then maybe I have a little accident, a guy bashes my car. Maybe I use a Camry 2000, for example, the one they call Tiny Light, for example, older Aurora. And then this guy bashes me with a Benz. And then he says, who are you? What are you driving? This nonsense. I can pay for it. So you have taken his ego, crushed it, because you think he's not as wealthy as you are, less of a man. That displaces his peace of mind.
Oh,
now he's got in his head. I got upgrade. I got down there.
Thank you so much, Abby. Thank you very much. Let me let you go, because the peace of mind he's asking for, aside from the one at home, which is required, what he's saying that society doesn't give him peace of mind. I am a honest man, right? Working for my pay. I have a decent car. I'm taking care of my family. You come to hit me or intimidate me because of your wealth, because of your status, because of your connections. You're not giving me peace. And it sounds to me also like respect. Respect for my dignity. I might not have as much money as you, as a fellow man, but respect me for who I am. I'm also a man in my own right. And I think that's what he just told us.
I also think
that's some deep stuff.
That's some deep stuff, because what I would have expected, first of all, when I asked him is the wife does. She needs to keep quiet. She needs to stop nagging. But it's really peace from core men outside. So if that man, our point earlier, you know, it's society is what my co-male are doing that makes me feel.
See your mate. So I think
but so the woman needs to also be the one that you don't escalate what has already. Imagine after coming in and then the woman at home makes it even worse.
Just
how you want to know.
Just imagine that outside there is a war zone. I'm speaking for the men, that every woman should assume that outside there is coming from a war zone. How would you receive a man that is coming from a war zone? That is what a woman should think, that my husband has just come from a war zone. My darling, just sit down. Let me get you cold water. And I know you are also in a war zone, but giving a man peace. Putting consideration that you don't know what he has gone through. And imagine he's coming from the worst kind of scenario possible.
So let's go back to the original question. Is Nigeria unfair to men without money?
We've agreed on that one now. Nigeria is unfair to anybody that does not have money. It is worse on a man. Nigeria is unfair to any human being. Poverty is a crime in Nigeria. You cannot afford to be poor. You are a criminal. But it is now worse if you are a man and you are poor, or you are a man and you don't have enough money to meet your basic needs. So it is a terrible space to be in. Mentally, it's a terrible space to be in. Among men, a man who is not financially comfortable or financially free is being pressured in church, pressured at home, pressured at work, pressured amongst men, among friends. So it is pressure all around. So
let's go back to what Nima said about the defining masculinity. So the Mariam gave us confident, kind, and managing your ego positively.
So I'll rearrange.
Okay.
For me, number one will be kindness. I want to marry a man that is
You're already married.
considerate. Now, I would want to marry a man. I want a man, even not even a marriage, even as a male friend, even as a colleague.
Yeah.
Every man should be kind. You should lead with kindness. And I teach it to my kids. I'll give an example, please. So this morning, I gave 3 of them chocolate, the one we got from our fan, and there was plantain chips. Only one of my son eats plantain chips. So he wanted to take the plantain chips in addition to his chocolates, and fight broke out. You cannot have plantain chips on your chocolates. And I said, yes, it's not fair. So they left. But I called back David and said, David, take the plantain chips, go and give your brother, because it is kind for you to know that I know he likes plantain chips. I will give him, even though it will seem like I am not getting anything extra on my chocolate. We must be intentional in teaching boys to be kind, because environment teaches them to be competitive. So they must step out of being that competitive and competing. That's why a man would marry a wonderful woman who is making a whole lot of money and will be uncomfortable to enjoy the support he is getting. Because in his mind, it emasculates him that his woman is earning more money than him. That's the competition. You are not competing with your wife. You're not competing with your female colleague. It's not a fight. You are kind. You are happy that your wife is making money. It does not rob you of your being masculine. So for me, the first thing I want in any man is be kind. And number 2, support people around you. I cannot stand a man that is uncomfortable with supporting people. Like, I wanted a husband that was going to support my business. It was a key thing. Support me. If I say I want to fly, say, is it parachute? Yeah, how do you want to go? Is it jet, or you want to use plane? Or like, that's the kind of man I believe should be around any woman. You will succeed. The society will be good if all men are kind. If all of them are saying, how can I support you? You want to go, you want to become the MD, let me support you. You want to become a driver, let me support you. Supporting, very, very important.
First question.